All right, story number three. Now, this is a clip from Drink Champs. Shout out to DJ EFN and Nori. 1 second, pause. And Drink Champs had Xzibit on. Now, this is a 3-hour conversation that covers a lot of really dope stuff. They talk about Crip walking. You know, they talk about Dr. Dre in the studio. They talk about Xzibit's rise. And, of course, they asked the Xzibit about whether or not he knew that Kendrick Lamar was on another level, essentially. And Nori is hilarious in this conversation. So let's go ahead and react to this clip.
Did you understand what Kendrick was doing from the beginning? Or this was something that after you saw it, you was like,
I mean, look, dude, you have to take a step back first because you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. There's always something happening behind the scenes that we're not aware of.
Right.
It spilled over into something else. But here's what I will say about that.
That's a great point. I mean, the conflict between Drake and Kendrick obviously has been 11 years in the making. So the behind the scenes stuff that we didn't see has got to be crazy between those two. And even the way that certain behind the scenes things sort of came into the conversation within the bars in this battle, you know, it's got to be a drip in the bucket. I'm always thinking about that line. Surprised you want that feature request. You know, we got some shit to address. Right. I want to know, I always wonder how long that list of things to address really is.
I think Kendrick Lamar is a very special individual.
right.
I think he is a deep thinker. I think he is a big part of what is unifying and energizing the West Coast right now. And I think he was severely underestimated.
That is an understatement. 1 second, applause. I just don't know how you can be in Drake's position, literally, and fall into all these traps. I just don't get it. I mean, the self-sabotaging energy that I get from his positioning in this battle is off the charts, right? Let alone the idea that he was renegotiating his deal, so he decided to get into a rap battle. Away from that, it's almost as if he's never heard Kendrick's music. He never listened to Kendrick. It's almost like he has been so detached from society that he didn't see the army of fans that Kendrick has built over a long period of time. It's almost as if he's never really listened to a Kendrick album, obviously because of the Hard Part 6, but to know not to, one, try to out-culture him. The cultural blind spots on that we talk about a lot. But how can you sit there and think that any of those songs were going to outdo Kendrick? I don't get it. I just feel like he was shocked. Completely shocked by how many people supported him and completely shocked at the level of hit song he could make. And I think that is malpractice. That's why I always say Drake is in his fat Elvis phase. He has no idea what's going on with regular people anymore.
And when you look at the parable of David and Goliath, and you see, somebody who's, very, dismissive or very arrogant or very, feeling like, because Drake wasn't talking the way he's talking now at the beginning, but when Kendrick wasn't saying nothing, you know what I'm saying? It was just like, it was very funny. It was very poking holes, and he did the Tupac thing.
Drop and give me 50.
Yeah. Doing the Tupac AI thing,
right.
You talk about feeling disrespect. I mean, the whole...
1 second applause for Tailor-Made Freestyle, the best song that aged the worst.
Coast, we love Tupac.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The world loved Tupac. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, God. You know what? I've never asked that question. So when Drake sampled, I want to say sampled or AI'd it, right? AI'd it.
Right.
So, because Kendrick's line was, you think the coast is going to let you disrespect Pac, nigga? I think that Oakland show might be your last stop, nigga.
Kendrick Lamar is not from Oakland, by the way, regardless of what Drake's lawsuit filing says.
You telling me that that's how people really took it? Like,
yeah, he took some liberties with that. And look, dude, I got no dog in this fight.
Yeah, no, I know.
But
none of us do.
Yeah, but the West Coast is where I'm at, and that's what's up. You know what I'm saying? Right. And so Kendrick is definitely ruling the pack. You know what I'm saying? And he's setting the tone.
Right.
And so I just think that what we're seeing now is
I ain't drinking a week. Hold on.
What we're seeing now is the repercussions of stepping on somebody that you shouldn't have stepped to.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not even in the same class. You know, in my opinion, Drake should have just put out a fucking massive hit for the women and went on about his business. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, you saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's been talked about quite a bit too. The guy with so many massively successful songs and legendary hooks didn't really drop any hooks in this battle.
Like
after the first shot, you know what I'm saying? But pride is a motherfucker. Ego's a motherfucker.
Yeah, but he kept going. I remember at one point I was coming downstairs to smoke weed, and it was like another Drake record drop. And I was like, oh, okay. And I felt at that point, at that time, I felt Drake was being the bully. Mm-hmm. This is before Kendrick had dropped anything. I think a lot of people forget that time. Remember when he just kept dropping?
Yeah, I mean, they both did that back
I was downstairs on my
Chrysler 300 looked like a motherfucking Bentley until a real Bentley rolled up.
Chrysler 300 looked like a Bentley. 1 second applause.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You see that motherfucker.
I'm not gonna lie, X. I knew Kendrick was ill. I knew Kendrick was the man. I knew Kendrick could hold it down. I didn't know Kendrick. I didn't know.
You didn't know Kendrick was a scientist.
I did not know.
A master chess player.
Yeah. He's playing chess.
I knew. No. Because I'm on hip hop. Let me not downgrade myself like that. I just didn't know to the extent that he went. Because I'm gonna be honest. This new album, what is it? NHL?
Yeah.
What?
NHL.
Tomato.
GNX. I said NHL. I was talking about National Hockey.
Grand National. Yeah. Grand National X. It's a car.
When I first heard it, and then I was like, damn, man, it doesn't seem like he's having fun. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And then,
oh, no, this is absolutely fun. Are you fucking serious?
It was an LA guy there. It was an LA guy there, big up Dion. And Dion was like, nah, man, we just have fun a little bit different from y'all. Yeah. And I was like, all right, cool. And I would listen to it the next day, and I understood. Like, it literally took somebody from Los Angeles.
Why didn't you think he was having fun?
Because I just felt like he was dealing with survivor's remorse. I didn't feel like he was, like, enjoying the moment.
That's not to me, that's not a crazy... It's not a crazy feeling that Nori is describing right here. One, we did get Watch the Party Die. Watch the Party Die does kind of feel like survivor's remorse. And, you know, it feels like Kendrick came home from a drill mission, took off his black Air Force Ones. You know, that's that kind of vibe. You get into GNX, especially whacked out murals. You know, his scope is widened, right? We used to be F that nigga, now it's plural, you know. And then you add that to a lot of the creative design that's around a lot of these releases. I don't think Kendrick's looked into the camera, any of the images that are, maybe the GNX cover he's looking into the camera, but on the Squabble Up video, he never looks into the camera. He's not looking into the camera on the announcement for the tour with SZA. So I could see if you're not really tapped in, or if you're not really listening to the album, that it might feel like he's a bit distant in general. But Kendrick is someone who's been he's a master of conveying emotion on tracks in a number of different ways. And generally speaking too, I don't know how often we really see him smile, at least in these last few projects. I'm not sure how often he's been smiling in general. But it's very difficult to listen to this album and not hear how much fun it really is if you're in Los Angeles. And he really captures, again, the regional sound. It leans heavily into a regional sound. So I can imagine just being outside looking in, so to speak, not really catching the vibe that is so prominent throughout GNX.
I had to hear it again. When I heard it the second and third time, then I was like, oh, okay, he's enjoying the moment, but he's enjoying it in his way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Look, I don't hang around with Kendrick. I'm not even gonna claim to be in his circle. His circle is tight. I know. You know, my family works with him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really dope to see him have his own lane. You know what I'm saying? And do it the way he's doing it.
Right.
Like, but still have the full backing of everybody that came before him. You know what I'm saying? That's fucking dope. And he's inclusive.
Right.
Well, you see some cats that's young and they come up and they just dismiss everybody. They gonna fuck that nigga, fuck him, fuck everybody, it's me, and all this shit. And I think that's what we saw. You know what I'm saying? Like Drake was, you know, damn near #1 for a decade, if not more. You know what I'm saying? And he felt untouchable. So it's very dope to see, you know, Kendrick come into his own. And I'm pretty sure he was pushed in a lot of ways from that situation. But to see what he turned into and to see what he represents and what he means to us on the coast, it's fantastic. It's dope.
You know what's the crazy
1 second applause. I agree with that.
shit is? I'm bouncing around, but I'm gonna make it make sense.
Yeah.
One of my favorite shows on TV is a show called The Chi, right? Only thing that's missing in The Chi is on my homegirl Lena Witt. I always tell her, I'm like, yo, man, you got the only city of Chicago without loading Latinos, right? And I'm like, yo, bro, I'm fucking Latino. Like, I can't just look at Chicago without noticing
Puerto Ricans,
Latinos.
Mexicans.
One thing about
Chicago's my favorite city. It's my favorite American city, 100%. Like, I love, don't get me wrong, Brooklyn is home, right? No place is better than Brooklyn in the summertime. I stand by that. 1 second applause. I love LA. I love it out here. I've actually lived in LA now longer than I've lived any place else, any individual city, right? So LA, I've been out here, 12 years? I was in Brooklyn 10 years. I was in Virginia 4 years, Charlotte 6 years, South Carolina 7 years, you know? So, and I've never lived in Chicago. I love Chicago. And the reason I love Chicago is because Chicago, to me, is the great American city, right? New York is an incredible international city of the world. Los Angeles is an incredible international city of the world. Chicago, to me, feels like the great American city, and it's so gangster. Chicago is so gangster, it gave us Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, Kanye West, okay? Chicago's so gangster, it created Vegas. You know, and so, you know, I it's just my favorite city. Now, hearing Nori say this is not something I ever really noticed, but it's kind of funny now that I think about it with this lens that I've had on Chicago for so long.
me being on the West Coast, and obviously I've been going to the West Coast since 1997. When I would go to Snoop shows or your show, I wouldn't see, your show's different. Okay, let me just put Daz and Corrupt. I wouldn't see a lot of Latinos. You know what changed it? Was Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
Nipsey Hussle, I went to a Nipsey Hussle, I snuck into it, I think I told you this, or I said it on the show. I went to a Nipsey Hussle concert. I didn't hit him. I wanted to pay to get in. I wanted to look, I wanted to see how this West Coast shit feel. Like, you know what I'm saying? Without being Nori, right?
Yeah.
And it was the first time I synced. But I didn't know what I was seeing.
Yeah.
Snoop explained to me that you saw that again on stage.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Kendrick brought all of these gangs together. Like, how remarkable is that?
That was the tipping point.
Right.
When he did that pop-out concert and Dre went out there and all them neighborhoods came out there.
See, we didn't
and
know that.
stayed on stage.
Let me,
yeah.
because we want you to explain this in its entirety, in depth.
Yeah.
Us on the East Coast, we look and thinking these are artists. That, although they might be artists, but we're not understanding that they represent different gangs.
Oh no,
and different territories.
There were some artists up there. There were some artists, but there was some very important people to the street up there too.
Right.
That usually don't really be standing next to each other.
Right.
And I think it just really set the tone for what's coming next.
Right.
So everybody saw that shit and was like, oh, we ain't had this before in the West.
That's what I'm trying to say.
We ain't had this before.
Maybe slightly during the peace treaty.
No, it'd be pieces of the West coming together. Still excluding some of these parts because of past things that happened or just like that's just how things have been. But when that happened, a lot of shit got pushed to the side and was like, okay, you know what? Let's unite around this W. Let's unite around this genius that is this doing this phenomenal work.
All right.
And look, we can be internally, but to the rest of the world, unified. Like, we haven't had that. You know what I'm saying?
I love that.
Word up. 1 second applause. I love that last part that he described. And we're seeing a lot of that. I mean, we're seeing Lefty Gunplay collaborate with Jason Martin, Coyotes collaborating with people. Doe Networks is over here still bringing unity, bringing East Coast artists and West Coast artists together. You know, we have GNX has a heavy Mexican presence, Latino presence on that project. You know, I've had a conversation with people who are like talking about how artists have gotten together and decided we're going to stop talking crazy about each other on these podcasts and in these interviews. I mean, that's just an amazing thing on its own. And then you add in Joey Badass jumping out earlier this year, stamping a flag, trying to restore the feeling for New York, saying too much West Coast dick licking. And we're seeing another wave of that now. You know, we've got Cliff Savage, we've got Ray Vaughn, we've got Coyote, we got Lil Poppy, we got Daylight. You know, we've got a number of artists who are unified under the West Coast banner too. So there is a lot of regional pride right now. It's very loud, and and now we have examples of that regional sound going global. And I honestly think that's the best case scenario for New York. Now, whatever regional sound they want to galvanize behind, maybe it's a combination of all of them. But getting that identity back is important. I covered a Redman story the other day. Shout out to Reggie and Jake over at Ambrosia for Heads. And Redman was talking about how he went to Jersey House, for a track on his newest album, Muddy Waters 2. You know, really leaning into that regional sound there as well. So I think this is a really exciting time. I thought this was an interesting clip coming from Xzibit. I think he really explains the impact, not only the Pop Out had, but GNX has had, and the unity that's come to the forefront, and its historical significance. So it's something else to think about when we think about, you know, where the West Coast is right now, and really the impact of Kendrick Lamar's Shakespearean Shakedown has had here on the coast. Let me know what you think about all this. My name is Justin Hunt. Like, subscribe to the channel, follow the Company Man on everything. It's all happening.
Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. The mathematical breakdown of this mighty game of rap we in. It's boom bapping in. Systematical culture views us radical, it's all happening. Shaking hands and dapping it. Life through the lens of hip hop, from trip hop to yes, y'all, you don't stop, you don't stop. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening.